Hey there, this is John Henny. I am the author of Teaching Contemporary Singing, and I help train voice teachers. Today, I want to take a look at and react to Bruno Mars singing Locked Out of Heaven live. Spoiler alert, I'm a pretty big Bruno Mars fan. He's such an amazing musician, songwriter, performer, and singer that I personally think he's about the closest we have to a modern day Prince in terms of just being that crazy talented. So you may disagree, but I'm going with it. All right, let's see what we got.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh. Never had much faith in love.
Oh, that's really interesting right there. What he's doing is he's starting off the song and he's keeping everything really bright. And the way he's doing that is he's utilizing a very open vowel. You notice he's not going, yeah, yeah. It's very, yeah, yeah. And he's also got his larynx a little high, which some voice teachers don't like the larynx to raise. And there's a reason for that. It's because when the larynx is higher, it's easier for the singer to overcompress the vocal cords or to strain. But Bruno is able to override his nervous system and that kind of shout reflex we all have. And he's able to keep those really wide open vowels as well as a higher larynx without over squeezing his vocal cords or yelling. Now he does a really cool thing here because he's really, really bright on the yeah-yeahs. But then when he goes to the verse, he slightly darkens his voice. He puts on the tiniest tinge of a Kermit the Frog as a little bit of a contrast. He doesn't quite go into Kermit land, but listen, let me take that back. Right here.
Never had much faith in love.
Just gets a little bit of that darkness as a contrast, really.
Because ooh, never wanna put my heart on the line. Ooh, but swimming in your world is something spiritual.
And first of all, he's just so in the pocket rhythmically. I mean, he's playing guitar and he's having to keep that online and using up CPU brain power. But if you're going to do that, the guitar really has to be on autopilot because singing, language, vocal balance, all of those things, they're just going to use up more of your processing unit. They're going to use up more of your brain. So if you're worried about playing guitar and how to change those chords, you're not going to be able to sing effectively over it. So he's really got this dialed in and he's really rhythmically dead on. And that's something I love to see in singers. Now, Bruno, I've seen him play drums. I believe he opened up his Super Bowl performance playing the drums. And quite well, I may add. In my younger years in a previous life, I actually played drums for a living. It's a bit of a long story, but I know a bit about drums, and he's pretty darn good.
Ooh, I'm born again every time you spend the night. 'Cause you said
Now, what he's doing there on that night, he's not going all the way to a pure E. Night, because he'd flip on that. E vowels, if you've ever tried to sing them, they like to flip. That's why yodelers say yodel-a. E's will tend to go into that really light sound or what singers often call head voice or falsetto. But he wants to keep more intensity, so he just gives us enough E that we get the perception of E. He's actually going nai, nai, rather nai. So really good. Good control of the vowels.
Takes me to paradise. Yeah, your sex takes me to paradise and it shows. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
And he's doing a little bit of mic work there because certain vowels, he's keeping a little more dialed in that he's going into what voice teachers will call a little more of a mixed condition, where the sound is a little less shouty and out the mouth. It's a little more vertical. So he does that on feel like, but then he kind of opens and gets the tiniest bit shouty on heaven. And he knows that that's going to hit the mic with more intensity. So he turns his head a little bit, and you'll see him so far. He's been playing with that on certain notes. He will turn his face ever so slightly so that he doesn't slam the mic. And then on the lighter notes, he comes back in, and that's pretty good mic technique. And it's pretty subtle. And Bruno's doing it because he's going back and forth between going a little yelly and then a little more in that vocal pocket or more of that balance. And going a little yelly is not wrong. And some voice teachers will look at me and go, what are you talking about? But if it's within the singer's control and he's not overloading on it, he's actually doing it quite well. So I have no problem with it. And the same thing on the long. He's not going to a pure ooh, because that would flip to ooh, but he's long, just enough so we hear the ooh, but so he doesn't flip into the falsetto. And even that, he's not going feel like, because that would cause too much disruption in the vocal line. You know, feel like. He's keeping the E and the I, the of I in the same place. Feel like. He's not feel like. So it's really, really good vowel control. And I really teach singers and teachers to gain control of vowels, because vowels are so important in balancing the voice. And if you're cracking on notes, and if a song like this is really difficult for you to sing, chances are your vowels are way too wide. And if you're a developing singer learning to sing, I wouldn't take my vowels as open as Bruno is here. That's a bit more of an advanced skills, because for most singers, if you go that wide, you're just going to jam up and it's just going to cause trouble. Yeah, even the word long, he's making it ever so slightly long. He's putting a bit of in there. And that's because an vowel up on that note is easier to balance. The is going to tend to pull and get a little shouty, even though Bruno's not afraid of going there. He's just using that more of that shout condition as accent and flavor. Yeah, even that yeah. Yeah, he's not going yeah. Really good.
You bring me to my knees, you make me testify. Ooh. Yeah, you can make a sinner change his ways. Open up your gates, 'cause I can't wait to see the light. Ooh. And right there is where I wanna stay.
You know, and I have to give kudos to the gentleman in the back who's doing the hand claps and the backing vocals. He is phrasing with Bruno just spot on, and he's allowing his voice to just have a little less personality and sparkle. He's not singing as intensely and as brightly as Bruno, so that he's blending really, really well. That's a really good backup vocalist who's very sensitive to the time, locking in with Bruno, and the phrasing. He's not just hitting the front of the note with Bruno, he's paying attention to how long Bruno is holding the note, and also the color of his voice and making sure it blends. Yeah, and even that. So if you understand rhythm, the eighth notes there, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and Bruno is on the upbeat, the ands of the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. A lot of times when people get on that and, they tend to want to rush 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 because the downbeat is the stronger beat, and they tend to pull the. And Bruno just stays in that. Sex takes me to paradise. I mean, it's just really well done. Feel like dialed in. Yep. So good. Listen to him lock in that rhythm. Yeah, and then on the word stay, that A was a little wide. He almost came out a fraction, but man, it's really, really good. And you can see that his tongue is a little forward on the yeah, because he's not going yeah with the tongue too far back. That movement of the tongue forward is making his mouth resonator more efficient for boosting those high notes. There's vocal acoustics that go into that, but trust me, what he's doing is really well done. I think it's not conscious on his part that Bruno just feels where the pocket is. He's such a good singer that he's just doing it by feel. It's like riding a bike. I mean, when you have to turn a corner and there's a car coming, you're actually doing a lot of calculations, right? The speed of the car, and you have to balance your body and how fast you're going. But actually, you're just thinking, hey, don't hit the car and don't fall down. You've got it. You feel it. Doesn't have to be an intellectual exercise. Spend the rest of my days here. Yeah, even the word oh, because he's really strong up there, he can't pronounce it like oh. The lips would be too rounded, and what that would do is that would pull the upper energy out of the sound. So it'd be too oh, it would tend to go to head voice. So he's making it more oh, and even the ooh, he doesn't go too far into the ooh because that would flip. That A is pretty wide, but he makes it. And I got to tell you, even on the here, he doesn't say E like it's spoken because that would flip. Just like yodelay, he makes it more E, and he's got to drop the jaw. And that's an odd thing to do at first when you're learning to sing, is those closed vowels like oo and E, learning to belt those have to open up like he does there. Now, some singers take it way too far and they lose the E-ness of E. It'll go splat to something like may instead of me. That sounds like an E. He stays within the perception of E while making the changes he needs to make in order to belt that strongly. Beautiful. So what he's doing is, as he's going to that falsetto, the vocal cords are going from making a lot of contact. They're a little more plumped up by the muscles within the folds. And now what he's doing is he's just letting the edges touch. So it's a less intense sound wave. And then on that ooh, two, he goes to that closed down heady ooh for effect. So he gets this very nice, like, not quite falsetto through the whole thing, but really close, just beautiful. For too long, yeah, you make me feel like I've been locked down. And the backup vocalist right on with him. That's just crazy. For too long. I mean, he's just so good, and that's live. Very often, those things are done early in the morning for morning radio shows, and so Bruno's got to be up and singing that well in a live situation. That's just a professional. Nerves don't get the best of him, and if he was nervous, you don't see it. It doesn't affect his performance. He's just fantastic. I mean, I really am a fan. I could go on and on, but I will stop. Hey, if you want to know more about me, check out my website, johnhenny.com. Be sure to subscribe to my podcast, The Intelligent Vocalist. I talk about all things singing. And on my website, I've got some free warm-up courses, etc. So check it out, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.